Good morning. I'm kind of bugged this morning because I was looking at the tweeter and Hackaday, which isn't what it used to be, I guess, had a post about the Arduino IDE is something like the Arduino IDE is growing up, and it had the Arduino IDE with like it's apparently the Arduino Pro IDE. I don't know if they charge money for it or what, or if it's free and just in beta, but it had like a dark theme on it and a couple of other changes. I think it still has the same general interface, but I never really considered the Arduino IDE to be an IDE at all, really. It was very bare bones, and it doesn't even support the standard keystrokes for moving the cursor around, and like alt keys aren't supported. It's very strange. So, like any developer should, I try to spend as little time in there as possible. Blinkers. So Arduino has this button or checkbox that says use external editor, and once you do that, the text editing area grays out, and then every time you run it, it reloads the file and then compiles and executes, or compiles and uploads. So like, I didn't really expect any serious coder was spending any time at all inside the Arduino IDE. So it kind of surprised me to see Hackaday saying, hey look, they're trying to make this better, but there's still a long way to go. I looked at the website, and the bloody thing has a MINIMAP. And I lost it. Oh man, hilarious. I don't even like, I am a bit of a curmudgeon. I'm sure we're already aware of that. But like, I don't understand, like, the amount of code that was written in the past with no minimaps and no IDEs is just volumes compared to the metacode high-level nonsense that's dealt with today, or most of what's dealt with today. It's crazy. I don't know. Actually, no. Maybe more code is written today, but not in the good way. I just don't. And then someone in the comments was like, thank you very much. I'm gonna stick with VSCode. Bro. Finger guns. VSCode, man. I didn't even know VSCode existed or was at all popular until recently, and I was like, really? Visual Studio? Really? Like, oh no, it's really great now. Like, but it's Visual Studio. Like, no, but it's got lots of stuff now. But it's Visual Studio. Yeah, but they've got really good source, it covers lots of this, blah, 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 blah. It's Microsoft, bro. It's Microsoft. They're gonna get their money one way or another. Their business model is not to make free stuff for everyone to have a free time with and not to pay them any money. Their business model is to make money. Bill Gates is very good at that. Clearly. You know whose business model is not to make money? Richard Stallman. Bram Mulnar. Tim Pope. Use a real, like, I think I wound up retweeting the Hackaday thing with a comment of like, here's a nickel, buy yourself a real text editor. Like, I really don't understand how someone who, this is the keyboard thing all over again. Like, oh yeah, what do you do? Well, I work with a keyboard for a living. Oh, so what are the tools of your trade? A keyboard, a laptop, a keyboard. You know, the keyboard in that laptop, that is my interface to do my job well. Oh, cool. What kind of keyboard is it? I don't know. Don't you want a good keyboard? Like, doesn't that matter? Like, we're all getting hung up on the CPU cycles of of the laptop. They're like, oh, bro, my laptop's even slightly faster than the other thing. All these things are so... I'm not having a good... I've been really aggro lately. And just like... got that masculine energy going on. So, excuse me. Where was I before I was almost cursing? Oh, so much resources. It's just like, it sucks up so much resource. Everything sucks up so much resources. Like, oh man, well, I can't really have a coding environment unless I can get the latest shaders. Like, it's at that point where we've reached peak coding environment, IDE nonsense. Oh, excuse me, I've predicted that you're probably going to want this. No. Well, I'm going to autocomplete it anyways. No. And my coffee's too hot. Oh, and shake it up. Drinking all butter this morning. Like, VSCode dudes. Like, I get it. Oh, sorry. Let me... Bloody hell. Let me complete that first thought. Okay, yeah, what kind of computer... What kind of keyboard do you have? I don't know. Whatever. I just don't understand. What kind of text editor do you use? Oh, you know, this one. It looks nice. Like... The goal is not to make the text editor look nicer so that it's easier on your eyes. The goal is to spend less time coding. To do more work faster so that you don't have to look at the IDE or your screen for very long. I did just download... I finally broke down and downloaded that retro cool term whatever thing. It's on the Qt library. I shouldn't complain about that. That's just fine. That is what it is. It is purely graphics too, so I don't know what I would be expecting in that case. But it was kind of nice. I had the opportunity to change settings, and it feels kind of retro. Not quite as retro as presenting your display through Arduino Uno, running a VGA library. But that'll come soon. Piping all that like console output, terminal output to one of those, that would be kind of neat. Or the ESP32 like channel 3 television broadcast station. That's awesome. But that's all just kind of retro for the sake of being retro. But like, why would you throw your hat in with these people? Like, why would you learn? This is like the framework idea. Like, hey, I'm gonna learn this framework. I spent a while at a company. Yes, learning a tool, monitoring system that they sold. And I learned the ins and outs of the system, and as time went on, I became more and more acquainted with the system, and the whole thing was written in Java, and it was all, the architecture was really weird and heady, but I understood it, and I knew how to read the Java error logs, so that's super helpful. I haven't had to do that in a while, but after the time that I spent there, I realized, or no, actually, I kind of realized it when I was talking to someone else. She had been there about 5 years, and while she was working there, she was like, cool, but like, where do I go after this? My experience for the past 5 years, it was more or less saying that you've been stagnant, but her experience for the past 5 years had been with that product. And if she leaves that company, and that's the only company that sells that product, like the best bet you can, like the closest you can get is another customer that uses that product. And then you can like impart some knowledge across there, or manage the tool a little bit from the customer end. The point was, you learn this knowledge and then you leave and that knowledge is gone. You like the time and effort that you went into learning that thing is just, it's not useful anymore. So what happens when, you know, your favorite IDE has problems, or, you know, Microsoft turns VSCode into a pay-to-play system, or you know, like there's so much weird garbage monetization of ones and zeros nowadays. You can think of like Steam, or was it Steam, or was it Bethesda? Bethesda was like selling third-party mods. Like you would pay them money for mods that someone else wrote to make the game better, instead of them actually making the game better. I got my wife a Sims game, and it was for Xbox One, and it's like, oh hey, we'll play it. You can play it this evening. Popped it in, and I'm sure you already know, I'm kind of embarrassed that I didn't think of it already. 10 gigabyte update. 10 gigabyte update. Oh, no. 10 gigs was it loading from the DVD, from the game disc onto my Xbox, I believe. Because the fan kicked on and it went super fast. So 10 gigs loaded onto the Xbox. 5 gigs downloaded to get the game to apparently a playable state, possibly. The valuation of ones and zeros is just all screwed up right now. That's a good way of putting it, actually. I'll sell you this product. What's the product? Well, it's a pretty good product, but what you really want to do is buy the add-ons for this product. Also, the product doesn't work, and you need to connect it to the internet to get updates for it. Like, can't I just... What is the product then? It's like Bethesda selling Fallout 4 physical copies with no physical disc. It just had a piece of cardboard and like an access code printed on it. Digital revolution. You own nothing. Just like, I don't know if the glasses are giving me a headache or talking about this is giving me a headache. Like, I don't understand it. If you apply this to any other market, it's retarded. Well, it's literally retarded, but it's idiotic. And my infamous shovel example. Hey, did you want to buy a shovel? Oh yeah, sure. I need a shovel. Well, here's your access card. This gives you access to the shovel. Where's the shovel? Well, you get the shovel when you get home. You download the shovel and then you have the shovel. Okay. I guess so. Okay, you buy it, you go home, you download the shovel, and sure enough, the shovel materializes out of the air. Okay, cool, let me just go dig. You grab the shovel, and say, oh, I'm sorry, you need to sign into your shovel. You need EA access to sign into your to use your shovel. Like, oh, I'll get set up with an account. Okay, connecting to the internet. Oh, can't connect to the internet. Set up the Wi-Fi on your shovel. Ugh, saying that hurt my body. I felt physical pain from saying that. You might be familiar with that juice delivery service from a while ago. They wound up doing full refunds. It was ridiculous. They had these juice packets, and you would buy a juice squeezer, and it would essentially squeeze the packets of juice, and it would squirt the juice out into your cup. But the bloody thing had to set up Wi-Fi on it, and you had to log into it. That's what I have to say about that. There's nothing I don't even understand this. It's insane. And everyone's paying for it. Why? Newer, better nonsense? Oh, I met a guy at the coding meeting, early morning coding meeting. He showed up with a this like this small scuba tank and a regulator and hose coming off of it, and he took his Aquafina bottle and screwed it on, and then turned on the gas and shook it, and then turned it off and unscrewed it, and it went tss. And I said, "Did you just make sparkling water?" He's like, "Yeah." So he told me about the setup. The whole setup was like $100 or something like that. I could probably do it for cheaper. But he said, yeah, you just get the CO2 refilled at a welding shop. And like he said, he'd been running off a 5-pound bottle for over a year. Compare this to SodaStream. Like, dude, I know how much CO2 costs. I played paintball. I know what CO2 costs. What is this, like, ridiculous branded nonsense that you want to get me stuck into this proprietary system so that I have to go to you in order to keep buying stuff, in order to keep getting new systems, or upgrading my system, or maintaining my system? Ugh. You need digital property rights. It's insane. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this rant. I'm sure none of this made any sense. And I appreciate you listening. Finger guns.